Hello, thanks for joining us. This is Nationwide. I'm Ruth Aguela. You can follow this news live on our website is www.nta.ng/live and other media social handles displayed on the screen right now. Vice President Kashim Shettima and all the heads of state are participating in the UN Food Systems Summit in Rome, Italy, for the first stock-taking moment summit with the theme Transforming Food Systems for People, Planet and Prosperity. Meanwhile, the theme for the high-level session is Innovative Financing for Food System Transformation, the case of Nigeria, and the side of event on scaling up multi-stakeholders collaboration and investment in the implementation of food systems transformation pathways in Nigeria. The event is organized in collaboration with the Rome-based UN agencies, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN, the International Fund for Agricultural Development and World Food Programme, as well as the UN Food Systems Coordination Hub and wider UN system. Let's turn to legislative matters. Speaker, House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas is currently in a closed-door meeting with members of the National Association of Resident Doctors at the National Assembly Complex, Abuja, as part of intervention to avert a proposed industrial action by the resident doctors. The Speaker acknowledges the sacrifices resident doctors have continued to make in the health sector in spite of daunting challenges, but appeals for suspension of the impending industrial action to pave way for legislative intervention. He urges resident doctors to be mindful of the fact that revenue available to the government may not fully meet their demands, while calling for a middle ground that satisfies all parties without prejudice to the 2023 Memorandum of Understanding. The National Association of Resident Doctors had given the federal government a 14-day ultimatum to meet the demands of its members or face industrial action. The House of Representatives has refuted reports that its leadership is under external pressure to constitute the standing committees of the Green Chamber. The House, in a statement by Deputy Chairman, Special Ad Hoc Committee on Media, Ugochinyere Ikeagwonu, urges the public to disregard rumors of undue influence in the appointment of chairman and deputy chairman of the various standing committees. The House notes that the selection committee, headed by Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, has one member each from the 36 states and will do a fair, just and competent work without any external influence. The House assures that Speaker Abbas takes cognizance of the interest of all 360 members in the selection of lawmakers that will head the various committees. Ahead of the unveiling of new ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, only those that have the passion to serve the country can assist in the delivery of the administration's renewed hope agenda. The Executive Director of Excellent Leadership for Sustainable Development and Good Governance in Nigeria, Dr. Yunus Bosua, and some leaders of political parties say Nigeria is blessed with enormous human and material resources, but that good leadership and teamwork are what have been lacking, identifying credible leadership as essential to take Nigeria to the next level following the new subsidy regime.
We are mindful of the enormous security and economic challenges he has inherited. And we do believe that to get things right, tough decisions must be taken.
They say members of the diaspora community involved in philanthropic activities over the years could also be involved in government. President Bola Tinubu has been urged to be flexible and strategic in constituting a cabinet of ministers that will draw a new people-oriented agenda for good governance and development, which is what Nigerians desire, especially at this time. Guest on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria acknowledged that President Tinubu is reputed to have discovered many talent, but says he must unveil a list that is signature will definitely define his administration's direction. Lydia Sampson reports.
It is countdown to the mandatory 60 days to unveiling the ministerial nominees. Guest on Good Morning Nigeria said, based on President Bola Tinubu's antecedents, the cabinet might be a mixed bag, with the president sourcing competent persons from the public and private sectors and loyalists that will align and push out the realization of his vision of renewed hope.
What this president needs is to clearly define his vision and then find the kind of people that can help him execute that vision. Whether they are politicians, for me, is immaterial. Whether they come from, Kaura Namoda or somewhere in Ohafia, that's immaterial. What is important is that the debate has never focused on what do we really want as a people.
There's the decision between whether to dominate the cabinet with technocrats, those who have been in government, or to rely on politicians, or looking beyond the public sector to also consider people from the private and voluntary sectors.
They, however, cautioned against appointing ministers at loggerheads with their state governors to avoid possible backlash and slowing down of development.
We need disruptors in some key sectors of governance, particularly in the area of power and energy, anti-corruption, judiciary, talking about the Attorney General. We need people who are strong-willed, who are controversial, who are likely not to bow to anything.
The guest reiterates that good governance and accountability mechanism must be strengthened with the appointment of ministers who will always interface with the people for better understanding of government policies across the value chains. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
There is hope if we collaborate, share information, remain resolute to ensure peace, stability and development through the effective operationalization of the ECOWAS Convention on the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in the sub-region and beyond. Now, these were the submissions during an ECOWAS capacity strengthening workshop for the Nigerian National Center on Small Arms and Light Weapons Control and other stakeholders in Calabar. Let's hear from Paul Abel.
Temitope Lamidi, leader of an NGO in the fight against proliferation of small arms and light weapons, tells me that the 4-day workshop, which has exposed her and other participants, including interfaith clerics and civil society organizations, to in-depth knowledge about the ECOWAS Convention on Small Arms and Light Weapons, models on sustaining the fight, among other technical insights, is evidence of expected victory against the menace.
We're encouraged to continue the good work. One day, victory is sure.
And we do hope that what lessons that have been gotten here will be escalated.
There is hope for our continent. And we hope and pray we should not desire, we should not relent. We need to put more into it.
It's only Nigeria that is yet to have a commission for the control of small arms.
For the organizers and other stakeholders, passing the bill to law on creating a commission for the illicit arms fight by federal government, as well as participants utilizing the experience gained, will go a long way to curb the trade and proliferation of small arms and light weapons.
To exchange ideas, to exchange experiences, so that effectively we check the menace of easy circulation of small arms and light weapons in the country.
Collaboration sharing information to go ahead to fight what is killing us.
We have listened to the challenges hindering the effective implementation of the ECOWAS Convention. And I want to underscore our unwavering commitment to ensure that the necessary instruments are implemented, particularly the bill before Mr. President.
All stakeholders promise to enhance sensitization, foster more collaborations, and devise strategies for a more secured, prosperous, and safer region. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
All right, first here we'll pause for a while we join Hingno in Lagos to pick up with reports from her end.
With the Nigerian growing participation in the digital space, there is a need for data access control to prevent leakage into wrong hands. This is why the Data Protection Act was signed. The Nigeria Data Protection Commission is engaging key players to ensure compliance within its framework. Lanre Bilei attended the session and now reports.
The digital space in Nigeria expanding on a daily basis, which has made the country to initiate the Data Protection Act and has made Nigerians to be aware of what kind of data they provide in the digital space that can be used against them negatively or positively. In this meeting and workshop, the stakeholders are being enlightened and they are rubbing minds together on how it is necessary to have data protection facilities in all organizations, including public and private sector.
Data Protection Act is to protect Nigerians in the digital space as they provide sensitive medical, IP addresses or biometrics to organizations in private and public sector. The Act make it mandatory for this organization not to cross the line in divulging data to third-party requests. Participants are provided with the tools required to establish appropriate data protection and framework for the benefit of the data provider.
Data subject gives you data. The data subject wants to be sure that you are capable of protecting the data, and if there is a breach, that there is also the means of accountability. So that is the essence of the law.
The Act was signed only just last month, and it's now the responsibility of each organization, whether you're government, whether you're a private sector, to ensure that you have the data protection officer, to ensure that you are within the data protection law.
The workshop also dealt with issues such as security architecture and roles of data protection administrators in organizations, data regulations, audit and compliance, and enforcement mechanisms. In Lagos, Lanre Bilei, NTA News.
As the present administration continues to roll out its plans for the actualization of the renewed hope agenda in various sectors, Nigerians have called on government to equally beam same light of hope on the health sector. Correspondent who spoke to some Lagos residents and medical experts tells us more. The Nigerian health sector is challenged with manpower depletion resulting from the exodus of medical experts to other parts of the world. This is not good for the country as it poses great risk to the health needs of citizens. With the Tinubu-led administration's proactiveness already attracting admiration from many, some Lagos residents say they expect to see the same energy directed towards the health sector.
I think government should basically increase their salary so that they'll be able to stay.
Medical Director, Lagos University Teaching Hospital, who commended government's effort in revamping the health sector, especially after the COVID-19 experience, believes this administration will build on successes already recorded.
We have many policy documents that beautiful ones. What we need to implement them to the letter. We have National Health Act. We have a newly signed about a year ago National Health Insurance Authority Act. We also have a Basic Healthcare Provision Fund.
Experts believe that if the problems facing the health sector are addressed, medical tourism will also reduce.
The government should prioritize retention. How can we retain our doctors? You know, Nigerians excel anywhere in the world.
we must make sure that our public hospitals are well equipped to standard expected of this century.
Just recently, government expressed determination to achieve its health care reform agenda by prioritizing universal health coverage. This, many believe, will change the exodus of medical experts to influx of health workers in Nigeria.
Do not forget to follow. Do not forget that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Asmawi in Sokoto will guide us through the next set of reports after this break.
Welcome to Sokoto on Nationwide. Chief of Army Staff Major General Taurid Abiodun Lagbaja says the Nigerian Army will continue to explore new ways to mitigate the contemporary security challenges facing the country. The Chief of Army Staff was speaking at the closing of the 2nd Senior Command and Leadership Seminar hosted by the 8th Division Headquarters of the Nigerian Army, Sokoto. Dalhatu Abdullahi has more.
The training programs for the senior non-commissioned army officers and young soldiers, commanders and commandants of military formations and establishments across geopolitical zones of the country have no doubt created renewed hope for Nigerians that the security challenges facing the country will soon be surmounted. These are important programs. Participants, mostly seasoned military officers, interact and cross-fertilize ideas to guarantee better positioning armed forces. The training programs are aimed at equipping the Nigerian Army personnel with relevant skills and knowledge required to combat the various security challenges facing the country. Declaring the 2nd Senior Command and Leadership Seminar closed in Sokoto, the Chief of the Army Staff, Major General Taurid Abiodun Lagbaja, expressed belief that the training has enhanced the reasoning capabilities of the participants for improved leadership military operations.
We have underscored the importance of manifesting these principles in all our actions, thus ensuring that our operations and interactions reflect the highest ethical standards.
During the 3-day seminar, lectures and discussions were featured on the carefully selected topics to further enrich the knowledge of the participants toward addressing both administrative and operational challenges as they manifest in the field.
Let me also remind all commanders to be proactive and continuously review contingency plans.
The Chief of the Army Staff reiterates that the Nigerian Army remains highly committed to its constitutional role of defending the territorial integrity of Nigeria and fully ready to support the civil authority in the maintenance of law and order in the country. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army is committed to providing various forms of welfare packages for its officers to boost their morale in the ongoing struggle to secure the country. The General Officer commanding 8th Division Nigerian Army Sokoto and Commander Joint Task Force Northwest Operation Hadarin Daji, Major General Godwin Michael Mutkut, stated this while inaugurating the newly constructed residence of the Regimental Sergeant Major at the Army Cantonment Gusau. Jamilu Ibrahim has the details.
This edifice, located at the military cantonment Gusau Zamfara State, is the newly constructed residence of the Regimental Sergeant Major of the 1 Brigade Nigerian Army Headquarters Gusau. It is one out of many similar projects embarked upon by the Nigerian Army in its divisions, corps, brigades and battalions across the country. The General Officer commanding 8th Division of the Nigerian Army Sokoto and Commander Joint Task Force Northwest Operation Major General Godwin Michael Makut, who inaugurated the edifice, says it is part of the Chief of Army Staff's welfare agenda aimed at restoring the prestige of the RSM's office and boosting the morale of the troops in discharging their responsibilities. He charged the RSM 1 Brigade Nigerian Army Headquarters Gusau to reciprocate the gesture by being more alive to his responsibility.
We want you to sleep in a sound place so that you sleep properly, because a sound mind will definitely think very well.
The Commander of Brigade Nigerian Army Headquarters Gusau Brigadier General Sani Ahmad says with this development, the RSM of the brigade has a decent and befitting official residence, adding that more of such projects are underway in the cantonment. The newly inaugurated RSM's residence is a 3-bedroom bungalow and well furnished to make it very conducive for living. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and all other social media handles displayed on your screens for updates. It's now back to Ruth in Abuja for the continuation of the news.
Thank you very much, Asmao. It is now 4 decades after the officers of the 34 regular course of the Nigerian military left the academy, and today the star shows up for their collective calling into the Nigerian military in 1983. The gathering of these generals, other ranking officers within the 3 services of the military, is to appreciate God for the successes recorded and to further stand as a bridge between those in service for the peace-building efforts of the armed forces. Immediate past Chief of Defense Staff General Lucky Rabo and others say the journey was not bed of roses, as many were called, but only few survived the hit, and thanked Nigerians for offering them the platform and believing in them.
It's a valid profession, it's a noble profession, a profession that gives you the opportunities to be what you want to be, but it's a very difficult one too.
Knowing Nigeria for what Nigeria is naturally and what Nigeria ought to be, we need to do more to be ourselves and not to allow ourselves to be dictated to by other interests that are not too in tune with our own national interest.
Well, it's awesome. 40 years, they say life begins at 40, but 40 years is not a joke. And for us to have come this far and still alive, we have every reason to thank God, and that is the reason why we say we should come together for a reunion, then begin to, while we celebrate the living, we also remember the colleagues that have passed.
The 34 regular course of the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna, is one of the luckiest classes that bred high-level military professionals with distinct records. Earlier, in one of our bulletins, Lukman Hassan gave us an update on the Olodo Bridge in Ibadan, which was submerged as a result of heavy downpour on Sunday. Now, we understand the bridge is the only link between the Olodo and other parts of the town. So we're joining him again from Ibadan to give us if there's any update regarding intervention, because earlier, Lukman, you told us residents of Ibadan there were stranded. People couldn't get to their places of work. Students, pupils couldn't get to school. So what has played out between that time till now?
If you can hear me, the situation here, the situation is the deputy governor of Oyo State has come to this site to expect the damages done to the bridge. Earlier we have approached him and he said he's not in the mood to speak now because he just wants to assess the damage so that he could get back to the state governor to find a lasting solution. Earlier, when in the afternoon, the National Emergency Management Agency were on the spot to monitor the situation, and they have agreed that this road need to be closed because they are afraid that later in the day there could be hazard to people that will be plying this road due to the darkness, and it's also about to rain as we speak now, and people are afraid that the road might entirely cave in, which may lead to more casualty. So that is the situation we are having now. And most people here are kind of afraid that if the rain should come back, it's going to have a lot of devastation to their livelihood here. And most of them are already trapped on the road, as most people cannot go in or come back. I have a resident here who will tell us what they are currently facing. Your name?
My name is Wasi Ibrahim.
So what is the current situation on this road?
This situation is very bad because we are facing this situation since last 6 months. People are living in Olodo here. We are complaining about this road. This contractor they give for this job is not okay. Let me give you an example. Look at the old bridge. Can you see, imagine the old bridge, and look at the one built for us. Can you compare it with that bridge one? He do it in 1976 since our regime. Can you imagine? See the situation of the bridge he want to build for us. We thank God for the rain of yesterday. That's why they expose this bad work they do for here. Because many people are staying for Olodo now. You know need to come down. Can you imagine? So this I want to appeal to federal government to come and assist us, because this road is more than state.
Okay, sir. What the people here are currently saying is that they want the government to provide an overhead bridge that will be a pedestrian bridge, different from the normal the ones that motorists use to ply this road. They believe that if such is provided, it's going to bring succor to those people living in this area.
Lukman, thank you for that update. It's quite a dire situation and very unfortunate for people there of Ibadan. Thank you, Lukman, and well done. You've been there since morning. Well done. You can go home now. If there's any update, we'll definitely get information from you.
Thank you very much.
All right, our correspondent giving us update on the Olodo bridge that was submerged by the rainfall. Let's turn to other issues. Farmers and agronomists in Zamfara State have expressed concern that the widespread insecurity and the exorbitant price of the critical farm inputs are considerably shrinking the number of hectares put to cultivation across the state. Jamilu Ibrahim reports.
Zamfara is essentially an agrarian state with more than 80% of residents engaged in agriculture. Hence the state slogan, "Farming is our pride." With the protracted security challenges being faced by the state, the story is however no longer the same. As the marauding terrorists have over the years made farming activities very difficult, if not impossible, in many rural communities across the 40 local government areas of the state.
Now, almost all the farmers are only able to cultivate within the radius of 5 kilometers within their towns and villages. Nobody can go beyond 10 kilometers.
A farmer that used to cultivate up to 5 hectares can now not cultivate anything more than 2 or 3.
This year, the problem appears to have been compounded by the exorbitant price of fertilizers and some other critical farm inputs in the market, as some of the farmers say they have abandoned commercial farming altogether.
Because of the transition from one government to another, government is unable to give farmers input on time. But on our own side, as Farmers Association, we have put plans in place to distribute farm inputs to about 4,000 farmers in Zamfara.
Meanwhile, Zamfara state government has continued to express concern over the widespread insecurity, which considerably hampers this year's wet season farming, even as the security forces assured of their commitment to addressing the menace.
Despite the rain, there are places surrounding the whole of this Zamfara. All the bushes, nooks and crannies, we've been going there.
In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
All right, let's join another correspondent, this time around from Burning Kebbi, Iyabode Olorunsola. She's standing by to give us an update, especially because of the challenges being faced by farmers. We know the recent 2023 wet season rice famine that is affecting rice production there. So she wants to tell us what's the update, especially when we know that in the last 8 years, Burning Kebbi has revolutionized and boosted local rice production to discourage importation. So, Iyabode, please tell us what's the update there.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us in Burning Kebbi. Kebbi State, as everyone knows, in the last 8 years has been revolutionizing the production of rice, job creations and all that. Yeah. But this year, the wet season rice farming has gone through tremendous pains and aches. First, because of the quelea birds that attacked in their millions. There are about 500,000 hectares of farmland across Kebbi State. where you can farm paddy rice, you know, and 11 out of these 15 local government areas were attacked by quelea birds. Although the state government has begun fumigation, the damage has been done. And then the issue of irregular rainfall is another problem that the farmers are having to contend with. The irregular rainfall is affecting the third or second season of rice farming in the state. And then the fuel subsidy removal, of course, will affect the price of buying fuel to pump irrigation, their generators to pump water into their farms. We also have the issue of fertilizers. The state government distributed fertilizers some weeks ago, but the situation has been bureaucratized because the fertilizers did not get to the local farmers. And NTA did a report to follow up whether the farmers at the local levels got the fertilizers, but they all said that they did not get the fertilizers. I could go on and on and on and on the tremendous challenges affecting the wet season rice farming this year in Kebbi State. I have two people here with me that will be telling us more about these challenges. I have a seasoned farmer, Malam Haruna Usman. Thank you. Please, how have you been coping?
Well, we have been struggling to cope. Firstly, at the commencement of this rainy season, we have to do 2-3 times planting because the beds normally pick. Due to incessant rainfall, beds pick the seed we bury on the ground. So each farmer, personally, I have to plant 3 times before my crop will survive. So at the same time, the rain is not there. So because I want my crops to grow, I had to get machine and irrigate my pumping machine so that I can give my young seedling water before they get stronger. So and coping up with this new price of 600 or 500.
Thank you very much. The director of the Rice Research Institute here, Mr. Andrew, wants to tell us in 30 seconds the way forward.
Not the director, the head of station, National Cereals Research Institute. The numerous challenges facing these farmers, the solution to it is research. The government has to research into the causes of the problem and also the solution. If you look at, for example, the problem of the quelea birds, this is a problem that can be resolved through research. Research can find a lasting solution to how these birds can be managed effectively. Also, the issue of inputs for farmers, the government has to, be up and doing to make sure farmers get these inputs that are of quality, good quality, and also the price, should be reasonable.
Thank you very much, sir. It's back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Yabode. We just hope intervention is being done for these farmers who are counting their losses daily. Thank you for that update. All right, we're heading to another center, this time around Ibadan, but not outside the studio, in the studio where Kemi is standing by to pick up with some reports for us.
And welcome to Ibadan. Devastating flood has wreaked havoc in Olodo area of Ibadan, the Oyo state capital, with many stranded on the road. Ifeolu Omoshile, who visited the area, files this report.
Free flow of vehicular movement was disrupted at the Olodo area as residents managed to have access to the other side of the road through a small part of the bridge, which is beginning to cave in. A part of the bridge which leads to neighboring communities was under construction before the downpour, which lasted 4 hours. Residents therefore call for government's attention as they envisage that continuous rain will wreak further havoc.
Collapse of the bridge has affected our community by putting a stop to every movement, to everybody's movement, both the pedestrians, the drivers, everybody, all the road users. There's just a full stop to our movement.
There's no way house we can use. There's no alternative place we can pass.
Some rescue teams have visited the area to assess the level of damage.
It's a very sad situation, and I believe that the governor of this state, the executive governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, is not going to be happy with it too. So I want to assure you, I want to appeal to the community that they should be patient and be calm in a very short period of time. The governor is going to look into it.
Residents of Olodo community are optimistic that succor will come their way as soon as possible. In Ibadan, Ifeoluwa Omoshile, NTA News.
To other issues, Muslims have been reminded to imbibe the lessons of Hijra, encompassing love and perseverance as shown by Prophet Muhammad. This was the submission at Hijra 1445 Grand Rally held in Ibadan. Rafia Animation Badmus has details.
Speakers at the National Council of Muslim Youth Organizations, NACOMYO, Hijra celebration said that Prophet Muhammad, being an advocate of peaceful coexistence, must be emulated to have the needed growth in the country. On the essence of Hijra calendar, Muslims were urged to use the new Islamic year to prepare and plan their activities.
This is just an awareness, sensitization for the Muslim to know the lunar month that we are counting for the Muslim in the state and Nigeria at large.
We employ all the organizations to please join hands with us whenever we are having this type of celebration, because it doesn't cost them much. It's part of their corporate social responsibility.
Your state governor, Seyi Makinde, represented, called for decentralization of the activities of the National Hajj Commission for efficiency of the program.
We can make Hijra with our lives. Whatever that we know that we are doing that is un-Islamic, against the injunctions of God, let us leave it.
Hijra signifies the migration of Prophet Muhammad from Mecca to Medina when he was faced with resistance, intimidation, and persecution. This year makes 1445 years. Climax of the Hijra Awareness Rally by NACOMYO is the inspection of March past by the Oyo State Deputy Governor and recitation of the Quran in Ibadan. Rafia Animation Badmus, NTA News.
And that does it from Ibadan. Ruth, it's back to you.
Thank you, Kemi. Let's take a break. We're back. Please stay tuned. We're glad you're there. Let's join Ladidi in Maiduguri for some reports.
Welcome to Maiduguri. Thanks for joining us. As part of renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu administration, the federal government is targeting provision of equitable health care services to a minimum of 50 million Nigerians through the universal health care coverage by the year 2027. Vice President Kashim Shettima announced this during the 40th anniversary of the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital. Mohamed Goni reports.
Established in July 1983, University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital has been undergoing transformation in terms of infrastructure, manpower, and equipment. Designated as Center of Excellence in Immunology and Infectious Diseases by the federal government in 1986, UMTH is said to be one of the leading tertiary hospitals in Africa. The anniversary celebration served as a platform to acknowledge the achievements of the hospital over the 4 decades. Vice President Kashim Shettima, represented by the Special Advisor to the President on Health, Selma Ibrahim Anas, applauded achievements recorded by the institution and unveiled policy trust of Tinubu administration in the healthcare sector.
Health is directly linked to human capital development. It is also a known fact that health is wealth. We've seen the importance of health during the COVID pandemic.
The University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, as one of the federally funded institutions, is responsible for the training of health workers, nurse, midwifery, and environmental care officers.
It's a time for us to celebrate 40 years of hard work, seeing patients in the Northeast and in Borno in particular.
Chairman of the occasion, former Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adeoyele, said there is more to learn from the achievements recorded by the management of the UMTH and noted the leadership qualities of Professor Ahijo. There were goodwill messages from WHO representative and immediate first chairman of Board of Management, Hadi Ukashetu Gumel. As part of the 40th anniversary celebration, Vice President Kashim Shettima, represented by the Special Advisor to the President on Health, Dr. Selma Ibrahim Anas, performed groundbreaking ceremony for construction of ICT Center named after President Bola Tinubu and Heart Center named after Professor Jibril Aminu to further enhance the hospital's capacities. Projects inaugurated include Zainab Ahmed Child Institute and Hadi Ukashetu Gumel Hall, among others. In Maiduguri, Muhammad Goni.
As part of effort to control desertification and global warming, especially in the northeastern states on the fringes of the Sahara Desert, Green Environmental Solution is supporting effort of government and partners to restore the ecosystem to its original status. The project, in turn, with the recently relaunched Great Green Wall program, is in partnership with SOBEB, aimed at imbibing culture of planting trees in schools, as well as teaching students the habit of environmental protection. Fatima Issa reports that the event took place at Yerwa Central Primary School in Maiduguri.
It is the raining season and time ripe for tree planting, a measure the federal government is taking seriously with the recent relaunch of the Great Green Wall program by Vice President Kashim Shettima. With the theme Regreening Projects, GESOL is collaborating with Borno State Universal Basic Education, hence the flagging of ceremony of the primary school tree planting campaign to encourage and support vulnerable communities plant trees to prevent the adverse effects of climate change, such as flood, windstorm, and desertification. This is its first tree planting project in Borno in collaboration with SUBEB, which involves implementation of tree planting in 100 schools across the state, with the aim of creating green space within school premises, which will serve as outdoor classrooms, fostering environmental literacy among pupils. Coordinator of the program in Borno, Usman Muhammad Dodo, said the organization is committed to supporting children and also open to partnership with all who wish to explore the Regreen projects for environmental protection.
We have varieties of seedlings which include economic and non-economic tree, which will give us a level of precaution to the climate change that is happening.
The chairman Sube, Professor Bulama Kagu, and the head teacher Yerwa Central Primary School, Umar Gana, were excited with the initiative towards promoting tree planting, a sustainable solution to environmental protection.
The key activity I intend to mount in Borno State and indeed in Adamawa and Yobe State, we were told is essentially on tree planting.
In Maiduguri, Fatima Issa, NTA News.
That does it from Maiduguri. It's back to Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you, Ladidi. Governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang, during a visit to the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, says he will support efforts towards increasing the budgetary allocation for the Commission by the National Assembly. Ungufan Shaji Ungwai reports.
Discussions in this room are centered on advocacy for increased funding for persons with disabilities to enable its commission cater for the needs of the disability community.
The commission deserves to be allocated sufficient funds to develop a permanent facility for persons with disability. I therefore will be speaking to the leadership of the Senate to receive you as the budget processes begin, so that they can look more passionately into the need to allocate more funds to this commission.
Also present at this advocacy table is former federal lawmaker representing Kaduna Central in the 8th Assembly, Senator Shehu Sani, who expressed satisfaction over the speedy growth and achievements of the Commission in ensuring inclusivity for persons with disabilities.
I believe this will be the beginning of progress and beginning of a fruitful relationship between this commission and the people that this commission was set up to serve.
We were able to recruit about 48,000 into the Empower across the Federation. We are providing an additional 500 opportunity for Kaduna State.
Executive Secretary James Lalu commended the efforts of the former lawmaker for his support in the passage of the Disability Act and the establishment of the Commission. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji Ugwanyi, NTA News.
On sports, the Nigeria Volleyball Federation is set to commence second phase of Volleyball Premier League as Germany humbles Morocco in FIFA Women's World Cup. Clement Oladipo will fill us in on that.
The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) and Chief of Naval Staff CNS Spikers are top of the table in the men's and women's category at the just concluded first phase of the Nigerian Volleyball Premier League in Abuja. NSCDC men's volleyball team garnered 22 points, while CNS Spikers had a total of 22 points on the women's table.
As champions, we are always champions. Rigorous training of the team, male and female. They have trained and they have played, they have conquered. And that is what we want.
Meanwhile, Edo State Deputy Governor and Chairman of Baden Insurance Football Club, Philip Shuaibu, has expressed contrary opinion in the wake of calls by some football stakeholders for the Nigeria Professional Football League to adopt a bridge format in the 2023-2024 season.
I would have preferred we have a league from beginning to the end. But if this league must be abridged, my suggestion is that first, second, and third should be taken. The Super 16 should be abolished.
Two-time world champions Germany beat Morocco 6-0 in their Group H encounter at the FIFA Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. Alexander Pope scored twice in the rout of the North Africans as Nohalia Benzina now has to wait to make her debut as the first woman to play in hijab. Earlier on Monday, Italy pipped Argentina by a lone goal, while South Korea are in action against Colombia on Tuesday. With sport updates, Clement Oladipo, NTA News.
Encomiums have continued to pour in as Nigerians, including close associates and family members, celebrate the life and times of the former Chief of General Staff, late Lieutenant General Oladipo Diya. Larry Gbeleyin, who was at the service of songs, reports.
Tributes kick off a week-long funeral service of Lieutenant General Donaldson Oladipo Diya, a man his family and loved ones describe as an epitome of ability and discipline. Family members, in their tribute to their father, called him a father indeed to his children who loved education.
He was a jovial man. He had a great sense of humor, very funny, down to earth, very disciplined. He was regimented in his style.
They knew him as the gentleman, the gallant soldier. Well, I knew him as my dad, as daddy. Daddy was simple.
The executive governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, called him a soldier's soldier during his days in the army.
We're remembering this man for all the good things that he has done for our country. And therefore, I want to say with that sense of humility that on behalf of the good people of Lagos State, and I'm sure by extension because it's Okuna owns him, where he has lived in Lagos, so we also can take a full claim of him to commemorate the family.
His colleagues and friends called him a man of peace. Born in Odeogbolu, Ogun State in 1944 to High Chief Oyetola Diya and late Rachel Diya. After his WASC in December 1962, he started his military career where he gained admission to the Nigerian Defense Academy NTA Kaduna in December 1963 by direct entry. He was appointed military governor in Ogun State in January 1984. In August 1985, he became a member of the Armed Forces Ruling Council, AFRC. In 1993, he became the Chief of Defense Staff and the same year appointed Chief of General Staff and Vice Chairman of the Provisional Ruling Council. He took time off to study law at both the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. After earning Bachelor of Law degree, he went to Nigerian Law School where he was called to the bar. Lieutenant Donaldson Oladipo Diya died on the 26th March 2023. In Lagos, Larry Gbeleyin, NTA News.
May God grant him eternal rest. And that's Nationwide. Thank you for your company. I'm Ruth Aguela. Bye.